Hey guys, it's Bina, and we are back with another video. With this one is going to be my build guide for Ballista for Season 2. There have been minor changes to Ballista, mostly nerfs. We've got a new, one new item or two new items here and there, which we'll go over. But mainly, if you've played Ballista in the previous patch, the build basically stays the same with a few tweaks here and there for itemization. Keep in mind, this is a ZHP build, meaning you are not building into any defenses except for dodge, and then you're building everything for damage. So the main defense of this build is still Silver Shrouds, which have not been touched. Silver Shrouds are a way to guarantee a dodge on the next hit, and we have two sources of it. And then you are also building just flat dodge and percent dodge on your gear, and you also get a lot from dexterity, obviously. So you will be just basically not getting hit and deleting monsters with your incredible damage output. It is still one of the best damage output in the game, and it's one of the best well, actually, Rogue is the best class to build a ZHP on, since it has access to this guaranteed dodge, which basically means that you are infinitely tanky so long as you don't get hit. That being said, let's go straight into it, and let's go with what changed with this patch, actually. So what changed with this patch is on your skill Aerial Assault, there is a node that grants you more damage per dexterity. So if you go here, I will go over the nodes here as well at the same time. Ballista damage per intelligence. This node used to be 2%, and now it is only 1% per int. So this changes a little bit how you will itemize your intelligence versus your dexterity. The build planner is updated. Go take a look, and you'll know exactly where you need to put your points. But mainly, this means that you will be building Exalted Dexterity in priority versus intelligence, so long as you have like a good ratio. It used to be about a 2-for-1 ratio for dexterity versus intelligence, and now it's a little bit more than this for dexterity. Especially since dexterity, after much testing, the rate at which you can place your ballistas as well for a sustained fight plays a big role in how much damage you can dish out per second on average with ballista. So this is going to be a pretty major change. The nice thing with this one, though, is that even though it was nerfed, we have gotten this addition here, the Orion's Descent belt, which can roll up to 25 intelligence on it. So this is a very, very high roll of intelligence. And yeah, this belt basically replaces Jungle Queens in the previous season. Keep in mind, Jungle Queen still a good option, but Orion's Descent, if you want to min-max, is the way to go. So that is one of the changes. The other change that they have done to Ballista itself is that in the tree here, they are removing some points from Elixir of Construction. So instead of 5 points, you only get 3 points to invest here. And instead of 20% more damage per point, it is now only 15. So that one made your Ballista deal more damage after using a potion. They also nerfed the amount of potions that you'll be getting. So you'll have to like be careful a little bit more about how you consume your potions. Obviously, we're still building mana gain on potion use, as always, to sustain our mana as well. But yeah, you will have less potions, so be a little bit more careful. Maybe pick up the potions as you go through, because if you just zoom through the map without picking up potions, you will eventually run out of potions. But it doesn't really matter that they nerfed this damage node, because if you really want to, you can also spec into these nodes, which are double shot chance. So each one of these will give you 10% chance to double shoot, which is essentially a 10% more damage multiplier. So yeah, so they remove the power here, but we get more power there. So it doesn't really matter. You lose quite a bit of damage, though. Like overall, Ballista did lose some damage, but it will still be a staple of the Falconer, and will be able to completely delete bosses even then. So that is pretty much the changes that they have been doing for this patch. We are also getting a few new idols. So with the new idols, you can get increased crit chance and crit multi on your adorned idols. So that's going to be your first priority. And on top of that, if you manage to get 2 affixes, you can get dodge rating, which is essentially our best form of defense, since you're only scaling offense and just rely on avoiding hits. And it also has crit avoidance, which is pretty nice, because as we know, with our passives, we get this node here, which is Finesse Them, which gives your minion crit multi per your crit avoidance. So amazing idols. If you manage to get double tier 7 of these and chance on your idols, you are going to be blasting like never before. So Very, very nice. The small idols here, we can add some physical penetration as well and some critical strike avoidance. So this is even better than what we had in the past. So overall some nerfs, but you know, still remains one of the best damaging builds in the entire game. So we'll go over exactly you know, the build guide and how it functions and everything, but for now you got the summary of what has changed from season 1. So if you have already played in season 1 and you just wanted to know, you know, what has changed, this is it. All right, let's go over Ballista. Ballista here, as always, we're grabbing the damage stat ratio nodes. So your damage also applies to Ballista. Also with these nodes, your critical strike chance and your critical strike multiplier will also apply to your Ballistas. So not only are you scaling your minion stats, but you are also scaling your own stat ratios to be able to like boost Ballista. 1 point here to grab the enemy pierced. One of the most important nodes here is going to be the minus 50 mana cost to make sure that your Ballista costs a very little amount. And then you'll go for the damage here. You grab 1 point in contaminating shots so that your element stat ratio applies. This means that your armor shred will apply, your penetration will apply on your blessings here. Not penetration, but shred rather. So your physical shred will apply as well. So it's just a very good way to make them always apply the shred without having to rely on stuff like your Falcon or other sources like Decoy or something to apply armor shred or even smoke bomb. So very important. Contaminating shots, armor shred is an insane multiplier for any hit builds, and it's no different for this build, even though it's a minion build. More duration means more damage output for your Ballistas each time you put one in. Care package to Elixir of Construction. If you want to completely ditch these nodes for the potions and Elixir of Construction because you find it annoying, just put more points into Twinned Bolts or put more points into Light Bolts and then the remaining into Heavy Bolts. This is basically, it's the most damage you can possibly get, but if you don't like the playstyle of having to press your potion all the time, feel free to use other nodes in here. So that is pretty much it for Ballista. Still extremely strong. Decoy is basically just your defense ability. You throw it, it grabs aggro. So because we are very squishy, this lets your time for Ballistas to actually deal damage. Aerial Assault. This has a very nice interaction with the Ballistas because you will grab on your Morning Frost. You will guarantee the slam actually now, because now you can actually guarantee a certain affix, a certain experimental affix on boots, and you can use the Rune of Havoc to switch the tiers of these affixes to make your minion teleporters around you tier 7, and then you can just get tier 7 Morning Frost boots by guaranteeing this affix in the Temple Sanctum in the Eternity Cache. So Morning Frost with tier 7 minions teleport around you. This will make it so that every time that you use Aerial Assault, your Ballistas will be teleported around you and they will just start shooting immediately at everything. So basically all that we want here, priority, is going to be getting our damage per intelligence and the attack speed for Ballista. This was also nerfed a little bit from 75% to 50% from season 1. And then everything else is basically just as much cooldown as possible, getting ourselves some dodge while we are traveling because it's our main form of defense. And I am leaving 1 point unallocated here to have this one here available at all times. Storm on the Horizon. Aerial Assault no longer moves you. This basically means that if you want to, you can swap Aerial Assault to no longer move you to buff your minions, and you can spec into Smoke Bomb to actually use this skill as your traversal skill instead. Why would you do this? Well, it's because Smoke Bomb has an immunity during your movement, so during boss fights like Shade of Oribis or Aberoth or even Uber Aberoth, it might very well be required. This will enable you to have an immunity during your movement and be able to reposition yourself without being at risk of an Aberoth laser or anything like this, right? So very, very important. Like, I just like to keep 1 point up so that I can always spec in and out if I am in a boss fight. And the beauty of this is that there's not really anything else you really care about in this tree, so that this point is actually not very useful even if you don't unspec it. Okay, Smoke Bomb. The main thing about Smoke Bomb is that it's going to cleanse everything, all elements on you if you happen to get an element. And also, it grants you a stack of Silver Shroud. So Silver Shroud is this mechanic that lets you dodge the next hit no matter what. So any hit that would hit you, instead you dodge and you gain a ward on top of that. You have two sources of this. You have one in Smoke Bomb, and you have one in your passives here by this one here, Coordinated Fade. So this one lets you use a certain ability on your bar to gain 3 stacks of Silver Shroud on a 10-second cooldown. So this one on a 10-second cooldown, make sure that you put the points, enough points so that it fits with where Ballista is on your bar. So 1 point in here if Ballista is your leftmost skill, 2 points if you put it on W, 3 points, etc. Right? So on my setup, I have 2 points here, but because I just like having it here. Feel free to mess around with however many number of points that you want. The most optimal way to play would be having this on Q, but I just can't stand having Ballista on my Q and use my pinky to do this, right? It's all written down here as well if you want to read it. So that is the main thing about Smoke Bomb. We grab the duration, we grab the backflip and immunity during movement, because even if you don't use the point in Aerial Assault and the one in Smoke Bomb here to make this your traversal skill, you still have the immunity while you are moving. So that is it for Smoke Bomb. And then Falconry. Falconry, one thing I really like this for is for immediate CC on any monster. So Falconry has a fear. Fear only affects monsters once, so use it carefully. If you use an Aberrant, for example, at the start of its slam, like as he is going to slam after he's been charging, I do like to use Falconry, so that he will get feared, and this just cancels out the slam entirely. So mainly we use this for this. The rest of the stuff, a little bit more element chance, as many hits as possible, the cooldown. We use this also so that you can also get some movement speed and some dodge rating after your Falcon has hit. So yeah, just basically a also it has a kill threshold of 16%. So just a support skill. We don't really have anything else to use, so the Falcon is great here, and we do need it so that Aerial Assault work with Tactician, so that it buffs your Ballista. Okay, now that this is out of the way, let's go into the passives. For the passive, we just grab as much damage as possible. You will see the passive are very straightforward. Pretty much everything here is for damage or movement speed. Nothing about defenses in here. So this is all pretty much self-explanatory. Like I explained a little bit earlier, here you scale your crit avoidance to also give critical strike multiplier to your ballistas. So everything else is just dexterity, all the dexterity nodes, and as much movement speed as possible, right? So that pretty much covers the passive. The gameplay we already saw. You just summon your ballistas, and then you will use Aerial Assault to buff them, and they move with you, they attack. Man, it's just like very straightforward. The gearing section here, we have the starter planner, which are these are the items that I would recommend starting with, even without any LP. All of the plus levels, for example, Phantom Grip grants you plus level, minion crit chance. Kestrel grants you another plus level. Death Rattle grants you a lot of critical strike multiplier. Bone Clamor, dexterity, intelligence, very good. Very important, your Twin Stand, +2 maximum ballista. Of course, we do want this. There's also another affix you can get on your body armor for +2 maximum ballistas as well. So yeah, so very strong plus level to skills, because Ballista benefits so much from more multipliers in its tree. So you got the progression to the end game setup here, which is basically very much obtainable very rapidly, especially with the new mechanics that basically guarantees a slam on the Temporal Sanctum. And then you got the aspirational, which is aspirational gear. You don't expect to get this in the first week. You will have to farm, but these are all items that are possible to get for this build. So one of the changes in the aspirational version, we are no longer using Malvern's Writ. We are instead using the Shattered Worlds relic, which this one only drops from Uber Aberoth. It gives us +1 skill, so that's another point to invest into Ballista. Perma haste, immune to slow, crit chance, all attributes. Just very good relic. And again, Orion's Descent Belt, 25 intelligence. You can still use Morning Frost if you want, but this one is definitely the belt to get with 25 intelligence. So that pretty much covers all of the gearing that is here. All of these other ones are just, you know, all of the items that provide as much dexterity and as much damage as possible in the game. The blessings, we'll go with critical strike multiplier here. Cold damage. The reason for cold damage is because of Morning Frost. Morning Frost adds 1 flat cold damage to your attacks and spells per point of dex. We are a dexterity stacking build, and so on this blessing for ending the storm, the best blessing to get will be increasing the cold damage, since our ballistas are also getting them thanks to the conversion from our stats that are being applied to the ballistas. All right, so that pretty much covers the gearing. Here you have all the offensive stats and defensive stats. As we see, our only defense is dodge, and right now, it might not be available at this moment, but for 1.2, you will be able to just click the loot filter button here, paste it in game, and you will have access to the loot filter directly from the planner. And this is also available, I want to say, for any planner that you do on Maxroll. So if you go to the loot to any planner, you make your own planner, and you can click the loot filter button here, and this will update. This will copy to your clipboard, and you paste it in game, and you get access to a loot filter based on the Maxroll filter that I am currently updating, and it will very much resemble some of the PoE filters with white items as you know, the best items that drop. So all that's missing right now are sounds. I promise you guys, the filter will be amazing for the for season 2 launch, and I can't wait to get your feedback on that as well. Here, a couple of few FAQ and mechanics. This is a new section that we added in our guides. So how do I survive without defenses? Why are you using increased cold damage blessing? Why is there 1 unspent point in smoke bomb and aerial assault? So again, this is what I talked about earlier, to be able to use a movement ability with an immunity on it. Increased cold damage because of Morning Frost. And how do I survive without defenses? Well, basically just, you know, Silver Shrouds and dodge. So that pretty much covers the guide. If you have any questions, I am live on Twitch. I'll be blasting season 2 like crazy. I am in the process of updating all of the build guides that I wrote for Maxroll, and many more to come as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Check me out on Twitch. Come hang out, and I can't wait for season 2. Have a good start of the season, guys.